The lights are out, and your neighbor is about to take the world's most permanent nap. He thinks he's staying warm. He's actually suffocating his family, and he can't even smell it. That cold, creeping silence outside, that's the sound of systems failing. The blackout isn't the killer. Your own home is. The air you breathe, the food in your fridge, the water in your pipes, the candle you just lit, they've all become poison. This isn't about stockpiling. This is about the hard, unforgiving science that separates the survivors from the statistics. And the first lesson is that your senses are lying to you. The silent killer. Let's start with that neighbor. He dragged his charcoal grill inside. An amateur mistake, a deadly one. He's trying to fight the cold, but he's just invited an invisible assassin into his living room. He's not dying from the cold. He's dying from chemistry. Carbon monoxide, or CO, is the ghost in the room. It has no color, no odor, no taste. But it has a terrifyingly aggressive attraction to your blood. To be specific, the hemoglobin in your red blood cells, the protein molecule that's supposed to be your body's oxygen delivery service, binds to carbon monoxide over 200 times more effectively than it binds to the oxygen you actually need to live. Your blood, the very river of life, starts meticulously transporting poison to your brain, your heart, your vital organs. It is a form of cellular suffocation. You won't smell it. You won't even gasp for air. You'll just feel a dull headache, maybe some nausea. You'll feel sleepy, then confused, and then you simply won't wake up. So how do you fight an enemy you cannot see, smell, or taste? You have to make it visible. You have to use physics and chemistry as your detector, because your nose is a useless, obsolete tool here. Your first and simplest line of defense is a candle flame. Keep a simple, non-jarred candle burning near your improvised heat source, but in a safe, clear area. That flame needs oxygen to live, just like you. It is a tiny, continuous combustion reaction. If that flame, in a draft-free room, suddenly starts to sputter, if it dances weakly, if the flame height shortens or turns a strange, lazy yellow, you are in immediate, mortal danger. The CO is winning the battle for the air, starving both you and the flame of oxygen. You must ventilate immediately. Open every window, every door. Get into fresh air, even if it's cold. The cold is a slow enemy. CO is a lightning-fast assassin. An even better field test involves a small, cool piece of glass or a mirror. Hold it near your heat source. Normal combustion, with enough oxygen, produces water and CO2. This will show up as clear condensation. But incomplete combustion, the kind that produces deadly CO, will fog that glass with a greasy, yellowish, or sooty tint. That residue is unburnt carbon and other particulates, the killer's footprint. You've just seen the evidence of the poison that's flooding your shelter. This is all happening because the fire itself is being suffocated. Incomplete combustion is just a fire that can't breathe. Whether it's a grill, a gas stove used for heat, or a propane heater in an unventilated room, the flame consumes the available oxygen. As the oxygen level drops, the combustion equation breaks down, and instead of harmless CO2, it starts pumping out CO. And don't just worry about CO. People bring in propane tanks thinking a small camping stove is safe. That propane is heavier than air. If there's a tiny leak, it doesn't float away. It sinks, pooling invisibly on your floor, flowing like water until it finds an ignition source, the spark from your fridge's compressor, the very candle you lit. And your shelter becomes a fuel-air bomb, the biological time bomb. The second fatal mistake is happening in your kitchen. The power has been out for 24 hours. The fridge is just a cold, silent box. You open the door, and that leftover chicken from 2 nights ago still. Well, it smells fine. Your empty stomach rumbles, and you think, better eat this before it goes bad. Wrong. It has already gone bad. You are about to swallow a biological time bomb. We are not talking about a simple, inconvenient stomachache. We are talking about catastrophic food poisoning in a world with no functioning hospitals, no IV fluids, no antibiotics. You are about to gamble your life against a microorganism you can't even see. That smells fine gamble will lead to violent dehydrating illness, turning your body into a casualty of its own internal bacterial war. You must understand the danger zone. This is the temperature range defined by microbiologists between 40 degrees and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, or 4 to 60 degrees Celsius. In this zone, bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria don't just survive, they host an exponential party. A single bacterium can become millions in just a few hours. After just 4 hours without refrigeration, your perishable food, your meats, your dairy, your cooked leftovers, your cut vegetables, has become a hostile, teeming colony. And here is the terrifying truth. Your senses are your worst enemy. The deadliest pathogens, the ones that cause organ failure, are odorless, tasteless, and invisible. The food won't smell sour. It won't look strange. The only way to know is to trust science, not your nose. Get a thermometer. If the internal temperature of your refrigerator is above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, it is no longer a safe, it is a casket. Everything perishable must be considered contaminated. Yes, even that expensive steak. Yes, even the milk. Your new survival hierarchy is based on microbiology. Hard cheeses like Parmesan or aged cheddar are safe for longer because their low moisture content and high salt and acid levels create a hostile environment for bacteria. The same goes for butter and especially for acidic or high sugar condiments like mustard, vinegar, hot sauce, and honey. They have built-in chemical defenses. Your chicken salad and your ground beef do not. And what about the freezer? That's your ticking clock. People think frozen food is safe indefinitely. It's not. As it thaws, it enters the danger zone. Worse, if it thaws and you can't cook it, you can't refreeze it. The thawing process ruptures cell walls, releasing moisture and nutrients that make it an even better breeding ground for bacteria when it thaws a second time. If your freezer is thawing, your only option is to cook all the meat immediately. If you have a heat source, you can fight back with chemistry. Slice that thawing meat into thin strips. Cover it in salt. The salt is your weapon. Through the process of osmosis, it wages chemical warfare, drawing the moisture out of the meat and, more importantly, out of the bacterial cells, killing them by dehydration. Then, if you can, use heat to dry it out completely, making jerky. Gamble on that leftover chicken and you'll spend your last 72 hours wishing the blackout was your only problem. The tyranny of thirst. But even a full stomach means nothing if you're dying of thirst. You can survive 3 weeks without food. You will be lucky to survive 3 days without water. The power grid isn't just lights. It's pressure. It's purification. The moment the blackout hit, the municipal water treatment plants went dark. The massive pumps that push water through the city pipes fell silent. The complex systems that clean your water, coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, filtration, and finally disinfection with chlorine or UV light, all stopped. That means the water in your pipes might still trickle out for a while, but it's not being cleaned. Worse, the lack of pressure is the real enemy. A pressurized system keeps contaminants out. When the pressure drops, a process called backflow or siphonage can occur. This means contaminated groundwater, raw sewage from a broken pipe nearby, or chemical runoff can literally be sucked back into the clean water lines. The water in your tap has become a Russian roulette of pathogens. And that crystal clear puddle outside, that rainwater you collected in a bucket, it's a pathogenic soup. That puddle is full of street grime, chemical runoff, and animal waste. The rainwater is cleaner, but it's full of airborne bacteria and pollutants. Clear does not mean clean. You must assume all water is trying to kill you. Your first weapon is thermal warfare, boiling. This is the most reliable method. Bring any water you've collected to a hard, rolling boil. A rolling boil where big bubbles are breaking the surface. And you must maintain this boil for at least 1 full minute. At high altitudes where water boils at a lower temperature, you must boil it for 3 minutes. This intense heat shock is a nuclear bomb for 99.9% of the microscopic organisms, the Giardia, the Cryptosporidium, the cholera bacteria that want to liquidate your insides. But boiling is not a silver bullet. It does not remove heavy metals like lead. It does not remove chemical spills, pesticides, or radioactive particles. For that, you need filtration. You can build a filter by layering materials in a container with a small hole at the bottom. Start with a cloth or coffee filter to block the hole. Then a layer of fine, clean sand. Then, if you can find it, a thick layer of activated charcoal, crushed from an old Brita filter or even salvaged from clean, untreated fire embers. Charcoal works by adsorption, a chemical process where contaminants bond to its massive surface area. Then add a layer of coarser sand and finally small gravel. This multi-stage filter will not make water sterile, but it will trap the sediment and absorb many of the chemical contaminants. You must still boil or purify the water after filtering it. If you have no fire, use chemistry. Simple, unscented household bleach is your lifeline. Check the label. You need 5.25% to 8.25% sodium hypochlorite. Add 2 drops of bleach per liter or quart of clear water. Shake it and let it sit for 30 minutes. It will taste awful, but it will be sterile. And if you have no fire and no bleach, use the sun. The sun itself is a weapon. Fill clear plastic bottles, not glass, not cloudy plastic, with your filtered water. Lay them on their side on a dark or reflective surface in direct full sunlight for at least 6 hours. This process, solar disinfection, or SODIS, uses the sun's powerful UVA radiation to penetrate the water and shred the DNA of bacteria and viruses, rendering them harmless. Thirst is a tyrant, but you can overthrow it with science. Worshipping the false flame. Now that you have water, you need light, and this is where the amateur survivor makes a fatal romantic mistake. They light candles, dozens of them. They put them on bookshelves, on wobbly end tables, near curtains. They've just invited an uncontrolled fusion reaction into their shelter. Every single blackout, someone burns their own house down. But this time is different. This time, there is no fire department. No one is coming. You are your own first and last responder. You must respect the physics of fire. A candle is not a flashlight. It is an open flame, a tiny, hungry inferno. It attacks your shelter in 3 ways. First, conduction. The wax melts, the holder gets dangerously hot, and it can ignite the surface it's on. Second, convection. The flame creates a rising plume of superheated air. This is the most dangerous part. That plume rises, and if it hits a flammable ceiling, a curtain, or a tapestry, it will ignite it. Third, radiation. The flame radiates heat in all directions, and if it's placed too close to a stack of papers, a box, or a piece of fabric, it can ignite it without ever touching it. The solution is containment. Place candles in the center of a room, on a wide, non-flammable surface like a ceramic plate or a metal baking sheet, far away from all fabric and drafts. Even better, build a lantern. A large, clean glass jar with a wide mouth is perfect. Put an inch of sand, salt, or water in the bottom to create a stable, non-flammable base. Place the candle inside. The glass shields the flame from drafts, preventing it from flickering and spreading. It contains the wax. And if the entire thing somehow tips over, the flame is contained and will likely extinguish itself instead of igniting your carpet. But honestly, candles are a terrible primary light. They are inefficient, dangerous, and a fire risk. Your primary light should be a modern LED headlamp. It's hands-free, allowing you to work. It's incredibly efficient, with batteries that last for days, not hours. It's cold, eliminating the fire risk. Your survival skill is not lighting candles, it's battery management. Keep them in a cool, dry place. Use the lowest possible setting on your headlamp. A headlamp is a tool. A candle is a liability you must manage. The myth of the useless brick. Your phone died 12 hours ago. It's a cold, dead brick. A useless piece of glass, plastic, and silicon. Wrong. That brick is a treasure trove of survival tools, and you are treating it like garbage. Even with no signal and no power, its components are valuable. First, before it dies, you must become a tyrant of power. Ultra power saving mode is your lifeline. You must know where this setting is before you need it. It's not just a dimmer screen. It's a complete system overhaul. It shuts down all non-essential background processes. It throttles your CPU to its lowest speed. It may even switch your screen to grayscale, which uses dramatically less power on an OLED display. This can stretch your last 1% of battery from minutes to hours, or your last 10% into a full day. Second, no bars is not no hope. Your phone is screaming into the void, trying to find a signal. Help it! Get to the highest point you can, a hill, a rooftop, and stop trying to make calls. A phone call is a resource hog, demanding a constant, stable, two-way connection. A text message, an SMS, is a tiny, efficient data packet. It uses the control channel of the cell network, not the voice channel. It is a store and forward technology. It can slip through the tiniest crack in the network, bouncing between towers for minutes or even hours until it finds a path. It will get through when a call will fail 9 times out of 10. The phone itself is a toolkit. The flashlight function is often hard-coded to a button combination that works even when the OS is failing. The camera is a powerful magnifier for reading tiny instructions or examining a wound. The screen, even dead, is a perfect signal mirror. 3 short flashes, the universal distress signal. But its greatest value is what you did before the lights went out. Your phone should be a library. Did you download offline maps of your area? Did you download first aid guides, survival manuals, a list of your emergency contacts? The App Store doesn't work in an apocalypse. And as a final, desperate last resort, that lithium-ion battery, the thing that makes your phone work, is a fire starter. If you can safely extract it, which is not easy on modern phones, and puncture it, the lithium will react violently with the air, creating a short, intense fire. This is incredibly dangerous. You could be burned or inhale toxic fumes, but it could also be the spark that saves your life. Of course, the real lesson is not to rely on the brick. A paper map and a real compass don't need batteries. The real enemy, your own brain. But let's be brutally honest. The carbon monoxide won't kill you. The salmonella won't kill you. The giardia in the water won't kill you. The fire won't kill you. Not first. The first killer, the one that opens the door for all the others, is panic. It's your own brain. Panic is not a character flaw. It's a physiological event. It's called the amygdala hijack. Your amygdala, the primitive lizard brain part of your neurology, detects an extreme threat. In response, it floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart rate spikes, your blood pressure skyrockets, and most importantly, it seizes control from your prefrontal cortex, the logical, reasoning, problem-solving part of your brain that knows how to boil water and knows not to bring a grill inside. You are left with your lizard brain, and it is terrified and stupid. It has only 3 responses: fight, flight, or freeze. This hijack is what makes people run back into a burning building. It's what makes them freeze in place. You'll experience tunnel vision, auditory exclusion where you can't hear what's right in front of you, a loss of fine motor skills, and a complete inability to think rationally. Survival is not a physical battle. It is a mental one. You must short-circuit the panic. You must force your thinking brain back online. The simplest and most powerful tool is to control your breathing. This is a direct physiological hack. The lizard brain wants you to hyperventilate. You will deny it. You will use tactical breathing or box breathing. It is simple. Inhale for a 4 count. Hold your breath for a 4 count. Exhale for a 4 count. Hold the exhale for a 4 count. Repeat. This forced rhythmic breathing is a direct signal to your nervous system. It stimulates the vagus nerve and forces your body into a parasympathetic rest and digest state, breaking the adrenaline loop. The second tool is a mental model. Use the acronym STOP. When you feel the panic rising, you just stop. Freeze for a second. T is for think. What is the one most important thing right now? H is for observe. What are my resources? What is the actual immediate threat? P is for plan. Create a single, simple, achievable task. My task is to boil water. My task is to check the CO detector. My task is to sort the food. This simple cognitive behavioral trick provides an island of order in the chaos. It gives you a sense of control, and that is the antidote to panic. The Final Blackout. The brutal truth of survival is that the disaster is just the opening act. The real test is the hours and days that follow. Most people aren't killed by the initial event. They are killed by their own ignorance of the basic science that governs their existence. They die from panic, from bad assumptions, and from forgetting that chemistry, physics, and biology do not care about their emergency. The power grid is a fragile, beautiful illusion of comfort. You have now seen the hard science behind the systems that keep you alive. You know how to fight the invisible killer in the air, the bacterial war in your fridge, and the pathogenic soup in your pipes. You know how to master fire and your own mind. The lights will come back on. The question is whether you will be there to see it, or if you will be just another statistic, another cautionary tale about what happens when people confuse hope with a strategy. You are not a victim of the dark. You are a student of the science. Prove it. In the comments below, share the single biggest survival myth you've ever heard. The most dangerous one gets pinned.